Hello everyone, welcome. I am so excited to bring you this video today. This is a video that I've been meaning to do for quite some time now, but I needed to do some trial and error and make sure that I got this process down pat before I actually filmed it. This is my acrylic full coverage tip application using no gel at all. So I'm going to quickly run through all of the items I use for this process. I use a glass cuticle pusher to clean away any dead cuticle that may still be left on my nail bed. I use a stiff bristle brush to clean off all the dust and debris. And then I also use a 100/180 grit nail file. This one I got from 𝕔𝕙𝕒𝕟𝕟𝕟𝕟. I will link everything that I'm using down in the description box. Down in the description box, I promise. This is a glass nail file that I use for my natural nails. I have some orange sticks handy for cleanup. I have a tip cutter just in case, because I do tend to cut some of these down a little bit. And then next, and really important, I have my acrylic tips. This is the brand Gella. They are all over the place right now. They are available on Amazon. They did approach me to review their product, their actual gel tip kit, but I told them I can't use gel. And when they have a kit or a non-gel application kit, I would be happy to review that for them. These tips I actually purchased with my own money. They were recommended to me by a fellow gel allergy sufferer, and she suggested these tips as well as the glue I'm going to be using, which I will talk about after. Right now what I'm doing is I am sizing out my tips. The thing that I love about these tips, there's a few things. First of all, they have more sizes than most tips. I believe there are 15 different sizes total. And I don't even need to use the biggest of them for my thumb. So there are a lot of different sizes, and what you see me doing is trying them on the nail, making sure they fit from sidewall to sidewall, that there are no gaps, but that they're not too big as well. You want them to fit perfectly or else they'll be lifting, and you don't want that. So one of them, and you'll see this in a little while, was a little bit too big, but the next size down was a little bit too small. So what I do in that situation is I take a nail file and I trim it down a little bit with my nail file. You'll see me do that in a few minutes. So this is the glue that I'm going to be using. It's called FastBond and it's from Diva. I got this off their website. I will link this down in the description box as well. It is, however, also available on Amazon. It's just a much smaller tube. This tube has about 3/4 of an ounce, so that's quite a bit of product. So this is where I am going to, I'm looking at the tips now and making sure that I have them lined up correctly. And then I am going to take that middle one, because when you look at it, it's a little bit more square at the bottom than my cuticle line is. My cuticle line is a bit more rounded and curved. So I'm going to use my nail file. I like to use the 180, the more fine grit side, to do this. And I'm just going to trim around those corners and make them a little rounder. Which will make it fit my nail better. So that's what you see me doing here. And when I'm done with this, because this kind of nail file tends to leave sort of ragged edges, I go back in with my glass nail file once I like the shape and just smooth everything out. I don't take any more off with it. I just smooth it out. So now you can see it fits much better, like a glove in fact, now that I have trimmed it down and smoothed out those corners. And now, as I said, I'm just cleaning up with my glass nail file because that smooths out those rough edges that the other file created. So just cleaning it up a bit makes the tip sit more flush to the nail. Okay, so that's why I did that. All right, I think we are ready for prep. So I'm gonna do from prep to application to shaping and everything afterwards. So we're going from A to Z here with this application process, okay? The very first thing that I like to do after I have completed all of my removal is to use my glass cuticle pusher to gently push back the proximal fold of the eponychium and scrape away any dead tissue that might be still left on the nail bed. Now this is the same process that I would have done with my jelly tip application when I was doing jelly tips. I actually do have a video of when I was using jelly tips and what that application process looks like. I will link that in the cards for all of you as well. And so this process is pretty much the same. You want to prep your nail bed and remove any dead cuticle. You want to make sure that your nail bed and the nail plate is completely clean and free of debris. And that is what is going to give you, here comes the big word, the best adhesion to the nail. It's really the most important part of this process. So make sure you clean those nail beds and push back those cuticles and eponychiums and free up that nail plate, because it is one of the most important things you can do to prevent lifting. Okay, I've said enough about that. What is going to happen now is I am going to finish cleaning up with this glass cuticle pusher. Then I'm going to move on to cleaning up the free edge of my natural nail and cleaning up any jagged edges that I may have with my glass nail file. And when I return, I will show you how I use my e-file to complete this prep. All right, so now I am going to use my e-file. I made sure that it was going in the right direction, and I'm going to use it on a low setting of about 5,000 RPMs. And I'm going to take my very small, my smallest, in fact, ball bit, and this is a diamond bit, so it's very gentle. And I am literally just cleaning up and smoothing out, you might say exfoliating the skin around my cuticles and around my nails so that I don't get any hangnails or things that will snag. It's just smoothing everything out. This bit does not touch my nail bed. It gets very close, but it's not actually touching my nail at all. Once I finish this up, we'll move on to the next step. At this point, I like to take a stiff bristle brush and really clean away all the dust and debris so I can kind of see what I'm working with. And then what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to get one of my small buffing blocks, and literally all I am going to do is rough up the surface of my nail bed and take the shine away so that the tips will adhere better. You want to try to do this as gently as possible because obviously you don't want to damage the nail plate because that could cause issues for you down the road. Once I've removed the shine from my nails, I go in with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and my stiff bristle brush, and I just scrub the daylights out of my fingers to get all of that dust and debris out of there. You don't want anything to interfere with your application. So yeah, now they're all nice and clean. And the next thing I do is go in with my pH prep from Sparkle & Co. You can use any pH prep or dehydrator that you have on hand. You could even probably just use isopropyl alcohol to dehydrate your nail plate. I just really like to ensure that I am really starting with a clean slate and don't have any oils left on my nail bed. So that is my preference. So I just want to talk a little bit about these tips. I don't know if you've noticed, but these tips they're pre-etched first of all. So you don't have to go in with your e-file or your hand file and etch the inside, but they're also matte on both sides. They're etched on both sides, which is fantastic because it means I don't have to buff or file off the shine on these tips. They are ready to go once you have them on. So what I'm doing now, just like you would with your gel, right? We don't have a brush, we have a little tube, but you can just run the applicator along the base of the tip. And as you can see, this glue is very thick, just like the gel consistency, which makes application so much easier. So I ran a little bit around the edge of the tip and up along the sides too. I applied it in sort of a U shape because I found that if I just added it at the bottom, that sometimes the side walls didn't adhere well because there wasn't enough glue there. So I put a pool of it at the bottom, and then I run it up along the sides of the side walls, and then I apply it just like I would a jelly tip. I started at the cuticle, and then I slowly push it towards the free edge. And really the only difference is that instead of holding it under a UV lamp or light, you're just holding it until the glue sets. So, you know, which is literally only a few seconds, but the nice thing is it sets slowly enough that if you immediately notice that it's not straight, you have enough time to kind of move things around and fix it. So that's great. because what I found with regular nail glue is that once I got it there, it dried so fast that there was absolutely no time to fix a mistake. So if it was on crooked, it was on crooked, and I'd have to figure out a way to make it work. But this stuff is really awesome. So the only tip I have for you with this glue is to make sure that you have enough there, because if you don't have enough for it to push all the way up towards the free edge and you like run out about halfway up, you're not going to have a full adhesion to the nail, and that could cause, you know, water to get trapped under there and you get a greenie, and you don't want that. Trust me. So make sure, even if it, like you can see here, I'm going in with my orange stick, I'm removing any excess from underneath the nail very easily. And then I can also remove it around the cuticle area. And it's not messy because it's like a thicker consistency. It's not runny. So that makes it really easy to clean up. And I just actually, I'm going to be honest with you, I prefer this whole process over applying jelly tips so much more. I prefer it so much more. So I'm just going to finish applying the rest of my tips exactly the way I did the first two. I'm going to speed this up a little bit because it's a little redundant, but I wanted to keep this as much real time as possible, but at the same time, I didn't want to like make this video like a 45-minute video. So I did speed some parts up a bit, but so I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let you finish watching me apply the rest of these tips. And when I come back, I'm going to show you how I trim and clean everything up. Okay, application is complete. And now, first, I'm going to take my tube of glue. I'm going to take a lint-free wipe and I'm going to clean up the tip of the applicator before I put the cap back on. And that will keep my cap from gluing shut. I've used this glue, I want to say 2 or 3 times now. Haven't had any issues with it gluing shut, so that's great. But it did come with an extra cap and applicator tip just in case, so that's good to know. Good to have. Good to have. So now I'm just going in with my ball bit again, and I'm literally just going around those spots where I had a little bit of flooding and I had to clean it up, but it really doesn't require a whole lot of cleanup at all because I was able to remove most of it with my orange stick. So that's all I'm doing here, and that's good enough. And now I'm looking at my nails and I'm realizing a lot of times when I do tips, I notice that the pinky nail and sometimes like the ring fingernail will be substantially longer than the rest of my tips. So I just kind of try to eyeball it. I love this tip cutter because it has these things that you can like use different sizes to ensure that you don't cut too much off, because I tend to be a little overzealous with the trimming and sometimes I cut them too short, and I love that tip cutter. So anyway, enough of that. Like I said, everything's going to be linked down in the description box. If you want to know where I got all of this stuff, that's where you'll find it. And so I'm just going in with my nail file now and I'm cleaning everything up. But while I'm doing that, I just wanted to mention that if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen me post about this, but I've recently been accepted into the Amazon influencer program. So I am now an Amazon affiliate and I have a storefront. So that will be linked down in the description box, and all of these items can be found in my storefront. So don't worry, I'm going to link everything for you. But I just wanted to clarify that if you use the links for these items in my storefront, that I will earn a small commission. So if you do choose to do that, I thank you and I appreciate you. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going in with sort of my medium ball bit, and I was just getting rid of those numbers on the tips, you know. You don't really see them when you dip over them, but I know they're there and it bothers me, so I just file them away with my diamond ball bit. And then, because I hate those little scuff marks that the filing away the numbers leaves, I go in with my pH prep, and that just removes the scuff marks. You don't even see them anymore. I know, I'm picky. Sue me. So here we are, all finished. Acrylic, full coverage tips, no gel application, done. And I am loving this process. It's really easy, it's really user-friendly, and honestly, I find it a lot less messy than applying jelly tips. I mean, honestly, I love the fact that these are pre-etched, they're matte, and that as soon as I'm done applying them, I can go right into dipping. So, I hope you found this video helpful. I know there are so many others out there like me suffering from gel allergies, and I just wanted to show you that there are other options out there. I hope to see you in my next video. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye now.